NOO'S Clock by Gail Newlin. They say one can't travel back in time, not by land or air or sea. That is, except in the Twilight Zone on a train bound for Willoughby. But with every chime of the ancient grandfather clock that now belongs to me, if I close my eyes tight, I'm in my grandmother's house again, standing right where it used to be. Majestically housed in the most perfect spot neath the stairway on the first floor. Its magnificent face was the first you met upon entering her front door. Through the years, that comforting tick and haunting Westminster chime somehow became deeply etched in my heart, as if eternally frozen in time. A face that never missed a day of greeting throngs of family and friends, that's seen the good times as well as the bad, so many beginnings and ends. As the clock strikes 3, it takes me back to family trips held dear, to roadside parks with our famous silver ice chest as hunger time grew near. With the station wagon packed up tight as a drum, we were off at 3 before dawn, with the hopes of making it clear across Texas before the hot summer day was gone. Dairy Queens and Dad's awful wets, oh what fun it was to ride, singing songs and reading Burma shave signs to pass the hours by. Then at dusk we'd finally find it, the most perfect motel to stay, with a pool and swings and vacancy all lit up in red, sheer heaven after such a long day. As the clock strikes again, we're finally there, at NOO'S house at last. It's been a whole year. I can't wait to call Judy. My heart begins racing fast. Drawn to the breakfast nook by the memory of homemade cinnamon rolls in the air, I can hear those endearing, familiar voices with laughter abounding everywhere. As if it were yesterday, I walk up the stairs to my favorite room of all, my sweet great-grandma Adam's bedroom with dainty rosebuds on the wall. Light and airy, I'd sit by her window in a white wicker rocking chair, dreaming one day of having a house with her same nostalgic flair. Moving on to Aunt Thelma's room, the biggest, of course, of them all, I smile, remembering the distinct scent of makeup clear out in the hall. And that day, her dresser beckoning, Judy and I powdered and puffed to our heart's desire. I can still hear the string of curse words she screamed, like a mad dragon blowing fire. Back through the sewing room, I pause once again, like a million times before, to open the big cedar closet there and sniff inside the door. At NOO'S room, the first sight I see is the laundry chute built into the wall, bringing back memories of my cousin Bart's most frightening tale so tall that if I was bad one night into my room a giant monster would crawl and stuff me down that laundry chute where to the dark, spooky basement I'd fall. Descending the stairs to the living room, so many family gatherings I recall. The crackle of the great fireplace, and the very best Christmases of all. The picture window my grandmother would dress that everyone drove by to see, with moving parts in each snowy scene, a most magical place to be. NOO'S piano and the big stuffed chair with the red footstool I adored, chocked full of family photos and such for me to spread across the floor. Just one more stop. I simply can't refrain from opening this last door to the screened-in porch overlooking the grounds that my grandmother couldn't have loved more. Every morning, rain or shine, with knitting or newspapers to be scanned, we'd all sit and enjoy the dew-fresh air and plan the day at hand. Taking one last glance out across the lawn, the hint of nighttime stars bring back my fondest childhood memory of all, catching lightning bugs in a jar. So for me, inheriting NOO'S clock was the most precious gift of all, an elegant treasure box filled with Jennings family jewels, standing right up against my wall. And though it may have lost that perfect spot neath the stairway all its own, as I'm sure my grandmother would say, a spot's just a spot. it's family that gives it a home. So to you, Mom and Dad, who we will forever cherish and adore, for giving us the best lives and memories ever, we cannot thank you more. We know Daddy and all our heavenly crew will be looking down from up above as we wish you a happy 95th and many, many more with such genuine, everlasting love. Happy 95th birthday, Mom. Gladys Marie Jennings was born January 5, 1920, in Nichols Junction, a tiny, now non-existent suburb just west of Springfield, Missouri, always affectionately referred to by our dad as the other side of the tracks. One of originally 8 children born to Pearl and O.E. Jennings, she is the only surviving sibling today. Looking at a photo of the entire Jennings clan down at the Branson place, I'm reminded of what could easily have been a scene from The Sound of Music. Presenting the family Jennings: Ellen, Elmer, Boots, Thelma, Gladys, Jerry, Don. And a musical group they were indeed, performing locally through the years in what became a legendary family band. The owner of a flourishing electrical company at the time, my entrepreneurial grandfather moved the family to Kirkwood, Missouri, a then very affluent suburb of St. Louis. It was there that he built a magnificent mansion at 725 East Monroe, where they resided for 11 years until the purchase of a Budweiser distributorship brought them back to Springfield. Construction on a new home began, and the beloved family summer home, known as the Branson Place, was purchased. With an innate instinct for farming and a love for horses that eventually outshined all his other business interests, Grandpa, who I often referred to as the farmer in the dell, enjoyed spending weekends at a sprawling farm he owned in nearby Marshfield, Missouri. Training and showing horses became his passion, and before he and my grandmother divorced several years later, both she and my Aunt Ellen were frequent, successful competitors in horse shows at the famous St. Louis Arena. As luck would have it, before several valuable pieces of my grandmother's furniture could be retrieved from the attic of the Kirkwood mansion, the new owner, in hopes of cashing in on the insurance money, set the majestic home on fire. And although he was sentenced to prison, none of the family's cherished belongings were salvageable in the rubble. Fortunately, the grandfather clock had already been removed and was in safekeeping, awaiting delivery to the new, inviting 2-story white house that became known simply throughout Springfield as the Jennings home. Picture perfect as ever, it still stands at 1200 East Delmar. At 17, Gladys met weight law when he slipped and fell at her feet at a local pool. It was at that moment she just knew he was the one for her. Acting on impulse one weekend, they eloped on July 16, 1938, and if that wasn't enough, decided to keep their newlywed status a secret for almost 2 years. In all probability, had it not been for my dad's father, Weight Loss Sr., they may never have broken the news. Dad had been involved in a minor traffic accident, and Pawpaw had gone to pick up his car at the garage. When handed the marriage license that had fallen out of the lining of the door, my grandfather, after giving it considerable thought, contacted Mom's family to give them the long overdue news. A twinkle in their eyes, they decided to beat them at their own game, secretly posting a beauty pageant photo of Mom in the newspaper, announcing their marriage to the world. Showered with congratulatory wishes from his buddies when he went to pick up the papers for his route that day, Dad sank slowly to the ground in a state of bewildered disbelief. Long story short, the beans were finally spilled on both sides of town, and that was the real beginning of Waite and Gladys Law's amazing 63-year marriage. Dad was a B-17 pilot in World War II, and shortly after parachuting from his blazing plane over a small town in France, ended up a POW in Barth, Germany for almost 2 years. Following his return from the war, I came along August 23, 1949. 3 years later, my parents made the very difficult decision to leave Springfield and move all the way to McAllen, Texas, so that Dad could be groomed for partnership in his father's produce business. Pawpaw, however, passed away from a massive heart attack a few years later, and from that point on, Dad worked for various produce companies throughout the Rio Grande Valley. My grandmother, Granite, lived only 2 streets over from us. We shared a great love for animals to the extent that she once took me to the dog pound, bringing home not 1, but 10 lab puppies, along with their mom. Well, needless to say, we didn't quite win that one with Dad. 2 years later, we were blessed with the surprise of our lives when Mom found out she was going to have another baby. Leslie D., or as I appropriately nicknamed her, Binky, was born the only true Texan of the Law family, May 3rd, 1961, 11 years apart. As I was leaving for college at North Texas, Binky was just beginning 1st grade. In 1995, the crew of my dad's B-17, Big Red, was honored in Azenay, France, by Dr. Louis Guiraud, who as a teenager had witnessed his plane bursting into flames and crashing 51 years prior. Unquestionably, the celebration of Dad's lifetime, it was all too soon shadowed by the diagnosis of a serious neurological disease that tragically took his life 6 years later on November 6, 2001. Mom stayed in the house on Daffodil that our family built in 1959 for 2 years until she could no longer manage the necessary repairs. The decision to sell it was one of the hardest she ever made, but a sound one in the long run. I took our movie camera, and the 3 of us walked through the house, each recounting a special memory specific to every room. I even took my ear mold material and made permanent imprints of the cement outside where Dad had inscribed our names, dogs included, when we moved in. Mom's condo, where she and her little dog Benji now live, suits her to a T. Spacious and homey, it's decorated with the perfect blend of treasured family heirlooms. Her artistic talents still astound even the experts as she continues to work on stained glass pieces that are truly amazing. Her masterpiece, however, hangs near a window at University Baptist Church in Fort Worth in memory of Wanda Tanner, my brother-in-law's mother, who ran the nursery there for many years. It is a childhood nativity that is an unequaled work of art. The largest and grandest of all her designs, it took over 2 years to make and is composed of hundreds of tiny, intricate pieces. You won't see much of Mom's artwork adorning her own walls, as she has always had a heart of gold, preferring instead to work by the hours on special personalized ornaments or stained glass pieces for so many others over the years. If my sister and I could have but one wish, I know it would be to inherit just a thimbleful of our mother's creative artistry and her unwavering, selfless spirit. She is truly our touchstone for life.
Little baby told God, hey, I'm kinda scared. Don't really know if I want to go down there. From here it looks like a little blue ball, but that's a great big place, and I'm so small. Why can't I just stay here with you? Did I make you mad? Don't you want me to? And God said, old child, of course I do. But there's somebody special that's waiting for you. So hush now, baby, don't you cry, 'cause there's someone down there waiting whose only goal in life is making sure you're always gonna be all right. a loving angel, tender, tough and strong. Come on, child, it's time to meet your mom. Now when she's talking to you, make sure you listen close, 'cause she's gonna teach you everything you'll ever need to know. Like how to mind your manners, to love and laugh and dream. And she'll put you on the path that'll bring you back to me. So hush now, little baby, don't you cry, 'cause there's someone down there waiting whose only goal in life is making sure you're always gonna be all right. A loving angel, tender, tough and strong. Come on, child, it's time to meet your mom. I love that song.